Tom Vasel. Welcome to Look Back, a series where I go back and take a look at reviews I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and tell you what I think about them now, if I think about them at all. So last year, I reviewed Outsmarted. This was a Kickstarter, Trivial Pursuit using an app. It's terrible. It's terrible. It is definitely a cash grab if ever there was one. 2 out of 10. Cloud Control. This is taking clouds and making pictures with them. It's okay. 6 out of 10. Space Race. Wow, I really want to like this game. It has amazing art. Has a really good card game mechanism that's then surrounded by a slightly clunkier building rocket ships thing. It's a great theme, but the game is a little too big for its britches, but without actually being a big game. 6 out of 10. Nutty Noodles. Roll dice, find a card that matches those dice with some ramen noodle type theming. It's fine. 6.5. Herbaceous Pocket. I never played Herbaceous, although from what I understand, it's pretty much the exact same game. I like it. Simple drafting game. 7 out of 10. Midnight Brunch. This is another 7 out of 10. This is like a collecting monsters. I'm not sure what the brunch part is. I think it's for brunch. Anyway, it's kind of collecting monsters that score in different ways. I like the theme, and it's a simple card collection game. Cloaked Cats. This is a deduction style game. I think it's best with kids, probably. I think it aims towards that category, but it's simple enough, and yet I tend to lean towards deduction games. 7 out of 10. Korra, Rise of the Empire. This yellow game about running one of the Greek city-states, and you're moving up tracks and getting points with cards and picking actions with dice. There's a lot of neat aspects. Not perfect, but it's a solid game. 8 out of 10. Destinies. This game, mixing an app with going around and exploring and finding a story. It could have been better. I mean, this could have been a 10 out of 10. As is, it's very solid. 8.5. And Commands and Colors Samurai Battles. Another 8.5. I love the Commands and Colors system. This is very close to being the Commands and Colors game Battle Lore, the first edition. This has a lot of similarities to that, but it's set with samurai warriors, and I like it. All right, 5 years ago, I reviewed Mr. Game, which is not a game, does not deserve to have a respect shown to it, called Mr. Game. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. 1 out of 10. The Oregon Trail card game, that's actually probably a 1 out of 10, but I gave it a 2 out of 10 because one of my friends who's really good at games died on turn 1, so I gave it 1 extra point because that's funny, but it's actually terrible to die on turn 1 in a card game. By just flipping a card of it, it says you die. There's no fun in that. All right, Tumble Tree, 6 out of 10. Placing things so the tree doesn't fall over. Simple, a game where you're just a dexterity style game. The Colonist. This is an interesting one. It's only 5 years ago. I really like the Colonist a lot. It's just way too long for what it is. If there was a way for this game to have a second edition, I would love it because I keep meaning to go back to it. It feels like an Uwe Rosenberg. It's not, but it feels like an Uwe Rosenberg game with so many options and cool things. It's just so long. 6 out of 10, but I want to like it more. Bemused, the social deduction game, which is an average social deduction game. 6 out of 10. Kriala, The Way of the Elephant. Why am I not even remembering this game? But I dropped it from a 7 to a 6.5. Oh, that's right, because it's that queen type game, placing tiles out there. Yeah, it's okay, but I'm cooling a little bit on these abstract games. At least that type of abstract game. Checkpoint Charlie, another 7 out of 10. This is a Cold War game, but they disguise the Cold War by making it cats and dogs. Nice back and forth 2-player game. Bohemian Villages. This is a neat game. I give this one a 7 out of 10 where you're rolling dice and claiming buildings. It didn't get a big release. It's kind of a blasé theme to it. Man, I like the concept of this game. I would have liked this to have a better production and a cooler theme. City of Zombies. This is kind of a kids zombie game if there is one. A cooperative one that helps you teach math. 7 out of 10. Kaiju Incorporated. I really like this little card game where you're selling off pieces of kaiju. The kaiju are died, and now you're trying to make a business profit off it. I dropped it a bit, but I still think it's a fine game. From an 8 to a 7, still cool. Word Slam. That's a 7.5 party game. Team versus team. You're both using different words to give people clues, but the words are on cards, and you're trying to find cards to give the best clues. I Found It, Journey Through Time, 8 out of 10. I Found It games are all very similar. They're big, giant Where's Waldo. This was the first one I played, and I liked it a lot. This is a ranking for kids. And Dragon Term, another game for kids, another 8 out of 10. This one here, there's a big dragon that slowly, a rope is pulling things in, and players are trying to do things as fast as they can. It's probably too big for what it is. I mean, the game is just a big box and a tower and a dragon, but it's so much fun for kids. All right, 10 years ago, I took a look at Vendimia, which is a game about wine production. Not very good, unfortunately. So 4 out of 10. Vote por me, a little, I believe this is from Chile, a little voting game. It's just not another game that's just not particularly good. 5 out of 10. Blocks, build a cube with 3-dimensional things. You're trying to just build a 3x3 cube. Cool pieces, okay game, 6 out of 10. Impact City Roller Derby. Now, there's not many games about roller derby. In fact, I didn't even know roller derby existed until I got this game. I've since learned more about it, but the game is fine. You roll dice, just 6 out of 10. Goblins Drool, Fairies Rule. A very simple micro game, essentially. Micro games were real big during this time frame, where you're playing goblins and fairies. Some big oversized cards, nice production, decent game, 6.5. Mi Tierra is like a family version of Agricola. So it's not as keen, it's not as honed as Agricola is. Also, it's a little bit easier and fun to play. 7 out of 10. Rolling Freight. Wow, it's weird that this is 10 years now, Rolling Freight. A train game where you roll dice and use the colors you roll on those dice to place routes out on the board. Cool game. 8 out of 10. Wallenstein, man, and I played the Wallenstein 2nd edition. I love this game, great game. I dropped it from a 9 to an 8.5, but it's still a fantastic game, and I'm hoping very soon to get the other folks here in the studio to give this one a whirl. Shadows over Camelot, another game, again, minor drop here from a 9 to an 8.5, but still a great social deduction game with a trader. I definitely had played this more than 10 years ago, but I guess 10 years ago I did the video review of it. And then Quarriors Quarmageddon. Terrible name, 9 out of 10. Great expansion for Quarriors. I like Quarriors. This adds more dice and more ways to mess with this really fun system. So those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.